So some quick Arizona Cardinals news. The pendulum keeps swinging back and forth and back and forth. Where the Arizona Cardinals trade back? Will they trade up? Will they stick and pick with Marvin Harrison Jr.? And we are just still weeks away from the NFL draft. We can taste it, but not there quite soon enough. And here's what I want to talk about. There's 70% of the NFL Cardinals fan base that believes stick and pick Marvin Harrison Jr. You can't miss out on Marvin Harrison Jr. And then there's the other 30% that said this is a chance for a Cardinals team to restock their roster, fill multiple holes, get maybe a little bit lesser tier guys, but fill in those holes that they need at corner, at defensive tackle, at wide receiver, at tight end, and stick and pick with all those picks that you could get for trading down with any quarterback needy team. And then there's me. There's the guy that has heard, that has seen, that has read that the Arizona Cardinals could trade back and then try to effectively trade back up for Marvin Harrison Jr., for one of the wide receivers that they want. That's ridiculous. That feels like Monti Ossenfort trying to please both sides of the crowd. Pick a side, pick a lane. Because jumping on both sides just doesn't work. I don't agree with this team trading up at all in any circumstance, unless, of course, it is just a complete gimme. But that doesn't usually happen on the night of the NFL draft. I want the Arizona Cardinals to decide, either pick Marvin Harrison Jr. or trade back and go get the assets and fix other holes on your team. But pick a side. Don't try to appease both fan bases by trading back, getting picks, and then using those picks to effectively try to trade back in to get whatever guy you want to get in the top 10. It just doesn't make sense. If you're going to pick the guy that you want, pick the guy that you want. Don't effectively ruin your draft plans by trading back and then the guy that you wanted gets selected. That doesn't make any sense. That feels like you're trying to appease both sides of the fan base. Monti Ossenfort needs to pick a lane. He needs to pick the Marvin Harrison Jr. camp, or he needs to pick the stick and trade back camp and go fill multiple other positions on this team. I am firmly of the belief that you should trade back if you can get a historic haul, because wide receivers are always available, because there's much more positions of needs on this team than just wide receiver. Although I get it, wide receiver's flashy, it's fun, and nothing about this team has been flashy or fun over the past 3 or 4 years. So I get it. Fans want a flashy, fun tool to be able to see the masterclass of a wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. every single week. I get it. I don't fault fans for doing that. What I will fault is a general manager trying to appease both sides. So when I see reports that say the Arizona Cardinals could trade back, get a multitude of picks, and then use that capital to trade back in to get whether it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or another player that they could have just stuck and pick at number 4, that makes no sense to me. Don't try to appease both sides, Monti Ossenfort. Fans are going to be upset either way. Whatever Monti Ossenfort thinks is the best direction of this franchise, that's the direction I want to go. I don't care what Steve in Phoenix says about Marvin Harrison Jr. on his draft board. I don't care what Freddie says in Queen Creek about how much smarter it is to trade back. I care what Monti Ossenfort thinks. And if Monti Ossenfort tries to trade back up for a player that he could have just drafted at the number 4 overall pick and risk that player being gone, that tells me Monti Ossenfort doesn't really think that highly of a player if he would put him in a scenario in which he could get taken and Monti Ossenfort doesn't end up with him. Pick a lane. Pick a side. I don't want to see the Arizona Cardinals trade back and then trade back up. That doesn't make any sense, especially for a wide receiver. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. as much as the next guy, but it is not a premium position of need. Pass rushers before that, cornerbacks before that, interior defensive line is before that. So I get it. Monti Ossenfort is stuck in a real position in which he's going to piss off somebody. But you can't please everyone. So don't try to please everyone, Monti Ossenfort. Pick a side. Don't try to trade back and then trade back up, risk losing the player that you wanted before, lose some of that draft capital that you got from trading back in the first place, and make it harder on everyone. Don't do that. Stick with your plan, stick and pick, and that is what's best for this Arizona Cardinals team. That's what's best. Not what Steve and Phoenix wants or Freddie and Queen Crete wants. It's what Monti Ossenfort wants. And fans will deal with it either way. But don't try to play both sides. Don't try to talk out of both sides of your mouth. Either pick Marvin Harrison Jr. or trade back for a multitude of picks. Don't trade back for a multitude of picks and then try to trade back up to get the guy that you could have already got at number 4. Because that tells me you didn't really think that highly of him in the first place if you were willing to trade him effectively. Other than that, I assume Monti Ossenfort will make the right decision. And fans need to understand that the general manager likely knows what he's doing.